People are crazy. There's something wrong with them. When you buy a faucet, no water comes out because they want to preserve. Even in areas that have so much water, you don't know what to do. It's called rain. Comes down from heaven, and they want to do no water comes out of the shower. It goes drip, drip, drip.
Just in case there's anybody out there who had forgotten just how stupid, dishonest, and mentally unfit Donald Trump is, don't worry. He went out of his way to remind everybody with a particularly unhinged press conference at Mar-a-Lago that we have to talk about. But before we do, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, we have many clips to talk about in this video. This press conference probably merits multiple videos because he said all sorts of crazy shit. But I really want to focus, in this instance, on Donald Trump's mental fitness because he's about to become the most powerful man on earth. And it's important to remember that during the election cycle, particularly after President Biden dropped out, a majority of Americans felt that he was less mentally fit and less intelligent than Vice President Kamala Harris. And despite that, they made him president anyway. So it's important to understand the mind state and the mental state of the incoming commander-in-chief. So here you go. Brace yourselves.
These people are crazy. There's something wrong with them. There's something wrong with them. They also want to go back, and they have already started that, to when you buy a faucet, no water comes out because they want to preserve. Even in areas that have so much water, you don't know what to do. It's called rain. Comes down from heaven, and they want to do no water comes out of the shower. It goes drip, drip, drip. So what happens? You're in the shower 10 times as long. No water comes out of the faucet. You want to wash your hands. They want to go back to even stronger than what they have right now. As you know, I ended that policy. You can have all the water you want. Makes no difference. It comes weird, especially in certain areas we have.
Yeah, so he has the temerity to say that other people are crazy, not the man who says, drip, drip, that's how faucets go, drip, drip. And like rain, it comes from heaven. Jesus cries, and that's how you get rain. Clouds are comprised of water droplets. Once they condense and get heavy, they fall. That's how you get rain. There are droughts in this country. There are areas that get less rain than others. You have drought seasons. Droughts are becoming increasingly worse due to the effects of anthropogenic climate change, and Donald Trump believes that that's a Chinese hoax, right? You have water-efficient faucets, but they have been in effect and have gotten better over decades. Americans' water use have been in decline for decades as a consequence of efficient faucets. But again, that's happened under Republican administrations. That trend continued under the Trump administration, and they still produce water. So again, he's talking nonsense. Here, he's ranting about the difference between gas and electric heaters.
He wants all gas heaters out of your homes and apartments. He wants them to be replaced by essentially electric heaters. I don't know what it is with electric. This guy loves electric. We're going to be ending the electric car mandate quickly, by the way. This guy loves electric. And we don't have enough electricity. And then we have AI where we need more. And he wants everybody to have an electric heater instead of a gas heater. Gas heater is much less expensive. The heat is much better. It's a much better heat. As the expression goes, you don't itch. Does anybody have a heater where you go and you're scratching? And that's what they want you to have. They don't want you to have gas.
Yeah, exactly. Biden is trying to actually inflict an itching plague on the rest of us. That's really what the liberals are doing. They can't win elections, so what they're going to do is they're just going to make you scratch yourself raw. Ridiculous stuff. He also goes back to some of his greatest hits about windmills.
And they're 25 stories tall, 40 stories. They have 170 stories tall. The blades, they take 3 ships to ship them. It's crazy. They're dangerous. You see what's happening up in the Massachusetts area with the whales, where they had 2 whales wash ashore in, I think, a 17-year period. And now they had 14 this season. The windmills are driving the whales crazy, obviously. And they had actually over, I think, 125 or something over a number of years. And we don't want that to happen. It's a disaster for us.
The windmills are obviously driving whales crazy. Obviously, I mean, maybe it's the heating of the ocean. Maybe it's the the effects of climate change on ocean maritime ecology. Maybe it's something like that. But no. Donald Trump insists it's windmills. Really unhinged stuff. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, he talks about it. Yeah, no. This is the one where he talks about how he's returning to common sense.
one's next to him because nobody wants to take him down, because why should they take him down? It's very expensive to take them down, and you can't do anything with them because the blades, you can't bury them because of the environmental protection. We'll look at that. Doesn't make sense, but that's what they say. So we are at the beginning of a great, beautiful golden age of business, and I think we're also at a golden age of common sense, because everything I'm saying to you, from a simple water faucet that doesn't allow water to come out appropriately, to all of the other elements of what we do and what we're going to do, to take $50 to $60 trillion off our country's balance sheet because some man that has no idea what he's doing, has no idea. You know it, I know it, the Democrats know it. What they did is a crime by allowing that to happen. And I'll bet one's next to.
You sure sound like you know what you're doing, Donald. I mean, it's just so ridiculous. Again, you see why the poll showed that he was considered less intelligent, less mentally fit than Vice President Harris. I mean, as soon as he steps in front of a microphone, you see it in real time. Anytime he deviates from prepared remarks, which he doesn't deliver particularly well in the first place, and improvises, he says unhinged shit like this, that windmills are killing whales in record numbers, that heat is meaningfully different between gas heaters versus electric heaters, and that Biden is trying to, like an evil Santa Claus, sneak down your chimney and snatch your gas heaters away from you, and talking about how there's faucets and showers and sinks because of the Biden administration, which don't produce water, and how water comes from rain, which comes from heaven. It's all insane. But wait, there's more.
And you can talk about windmills. They litter our country. They're littered all over our country, like dropping paper, like dropping garbage in a field. And that's what happens to them, because in a period of time, they turn to garbage. Most expensive energy ever. They only work if you get subsidy. The only people that want them are the people that are getting rich off windmills, getting massive subsidies from the U.S. government. And it's the most expensive energy there is. It's many, many times more expensive than clean natural gas. So we're going to try and have a policy where no windmills are being built. Off the coast of New Jersey, they want to build like 200 windmills. The people are going crazy. Nobody wants them, and they're very expensive. They don't work without subsidy. You don't want energy that needs subsidy. Energy is a good business.
You know what else relies on subsidy? Elon Musk's business requires subsidy, government subsidy, and has for years, lucrative government contracts. So this idea that, by the way, pretty much every sector in the world, or at least in the United States, gets some form of government subsidy. There's subsidies for, fossil fuel industry. So what is Trump talking about? He's talking about basically, you don't want this form of energy because it's subsidized. Let's go to a different form of energy, which is also subsidized and also very harmful for the environment. It's incoherent, but that's Trump. There's more.
I defeated deranged Jack Smith. He's a deranged individual. I guess he's on his way back to The Hague. And we won those cases. Those were the biggest ones. And the press made such a big deal out of them, but we did nothing wrong. We did nothing wrong on anything. And the people saw that. When they vote when a Republican, it's not easy for a Republican. When the Republican wins the popular vote by millions and wins all 7 of the swing states, people said, well, he could win 4. We won all 7, and we won them by a lot. That tells you we won. And they've been watching this injustice. I call it the Injustice Department. What they've done is so bad. The whole world has watched that.
So Donald Trump did not defeat Jack Smith. Jack Smith's case was thrown out by a Trump-appointed judge, not on the merits, but because she felt that Jack Smith had been inappropriately and unlawfully positioned as special counsel. She did not decide the case, nor did a jury decide the case in Trump's favor, number one. Number two, the second case, the January 6th case, Jack Smith withdrew that case voluntarily because Donald Trump won the election, and there's an OLC opinion going back since President Nixon, which says you can't indict, you can't prosecute a sitting president. Trump won neither of these cases, but he never lets the facts get in the way of a good story. There's more.
Experience, we have people that I can rely on, but the 625 million acres, people can't realize, that's like the whole ocean. Take an acre. An acre, you have a house on a half an acre, on a quarter of an acre, or an acre. If you have an acre, you have a big deal. Now you multiply that by 625 million acres.
That's not the size of the ocean. The 600 and however many acres, it's about a quarter of the size of the United States. The ocean is much bigger, especially if he means the ocean as in all the oceans collectively, just the ocean in general. There's more water on Earth than land in the United States, and a quarter of the United States does not constitute the totality or even a majority of land. So again, he's just talking nonsense, but that's again Donald Trump. He rants more about President Biden's policies and not wanting to fight the Biden policies in court. Here it is.
It's more than anybody in the world. And we're going to have more of it, too. But they took away 625 million acres of offshore drilling. Nobody else does that. And they think they have it, but we'll put it back. I'm going to put it back on day one. I'm going to have it revoked on day one. We'll go immediately if we need to. I don't think we should have to go to the courts, but if we do have to go to the courts, you know, they try to be sneaky. They go in and they sign. Remember, this is a man that said he wants the transition to be smooth. Well, you don't do the kind of things. You don't have a judge working real hard to try and embarrass you. Because I did nothing wrong. By the way, I did nothing, absolutely nothing wrong. If I did something wrong, I wouldn't be standing here right now because I've won all these cases. Nobody's ever won so many cases as I have.
He didn't win, so I assume it's hard to tell because he's wildly incoherent, but I assume he's referring to Judge Juan Merchan, who is presiding over Donald Trump's 34 felony convictions. And as the phrase implies, convictions, you didn't win those cases. You lost those cases, which is why you were convicted 34 times for falsifying business records. Judge Juan Merchan was not a Biden appointee. It was a state-level case presided over by a state-level judge. The Biden Justice Department has nothing to do with that. So again, this idea that he sicked Juan Merchan on Trump makes absolutely no sense. President Biden issuing executive orders, even executive orders that you don't like or executive orders that perhaps the American people don't like. I don't know, but the president has the authority to issue executive orders, has the authority to issue a moratorium on, offshore drilling. That's perfectly within his purview, and Biden is still president. If you don't like that, tough. You become president at 12:01 on January 20th. Then you are free to try to undo President Biden's executive order. But the president still issuing executive orders is not disrupting the peaceful transfer of power, which is what Trump implied there. No, you did that, Donald Trump, when you refused to concede the election, when you tried to steal the election, when you fomented an insurrection against the United States. And then during the course of that, you refused to actually begin the transition process by having your administration work with the incoming Biden administration. The Biden administration hasn't done any of that. They are superior to you. They're better than you. They're morally and statesmanly, civilly superior to you. But Donald Trump can't help but employ false equivalence when confronted with the facts. Here's more.
They brought this moron out of The Hague. He's a mean guy. He's a mean, nasty guy. His picture was perfect because you look at his picture, you say, that's a bad guy with his robe, his purple robe. And he executes people. He shouldn't be allowed to execute people because he'll execute everybody. He's a nut job. But we won all of those cases with him. And, I don't know the judge in Florida, but we had a brilliant judge in Florida that saw right through it.
You don't know her. You appointed her, dumbass. Aileen Cannon, you appointed her. God, he's so stupid. Like here, it really is so frustrating because Donald Trump has so many unlikable qualities, so many terrible qualities. It's not just that he's authoritarian. He's just really, really, really stupid. And I suppose we should be thankful for that because I imagine, all things considered, a dumb authoritarian is, I guess, at least in some respects, less dangerous than a smart authoritarian. But he's just, it's so tough as a movie buff thinking, man, we have not been dominated by the greatest movie villain of all time. We're not dealing with, again, Emperor Palpatine or Sauron or somebody like that. We're just this guy. It's just this guy. Got one more clip I just want to put out here, which is Donald Trump complaining about something he did.
And we are not treated well, as you know, by Canada. Canada is subsidized to the tune of about $200 billion a year, plus other things. They don't essentially have a military. They have a very small military. They rely on our military. It's all fine, but, they got to pay for that. It's very unfair. I have so many great friends. One of them is the great one, Wayne Gretzky. I said, run for prime minister, you'll win it'll take 2 seconds. But he said, well, am I going to run for prime minister or governor? You tell me. I said, I don't know, let's make it governor. I like it better. But no, something's going to have to be done. Same thing with Mexico. We have a massive deficit with Mexico.
Here's the frustrating thing. So Donald Trump is complaining about it, but Donald Trump was the one who made the deal, the trade deal that we currently have with Canada and Mexico. And now he's talking about redoing it, omitting the fact that he was the one who negotiated the terms in the first place. This is where we are. This very stupid, very dishonest, mentally unhinged person is about to become the president of the United States, and his party is in a position to wield extraordinary power. They'll have unified control of the federal government, a majority of state legislatures, all sorts of other institutional advantages as well. And yeah, this is what we're dealing with. Drip, drip, drip. Water comes from the heavens. Heat, it doesn't make you itch. Windmills, they're driving the whales batty. This is the guy we're dealing with. So brace yourselves, because he hasn't even been inaugurated yet, and it's only going to get worse, I expect, from here. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.